부자들이 원래 참 잘 속아. 침팬지를 그린 거죠?
자화상이에요.
일리는 시카고 과선배는 김치모 그는 이사촌.
오징어 게임의 세상 속으로 오신 참가자 여러분 환영합니다. 여러분들은 참가자들과 함께 6가지 게임을 진행하게 됩니다.
The Korean TV drama Squid Game is Netflix's greatest hit, and Parasite is the first film ever to win an Oscar with a foreign language. Testimonies of outstanding Korean creativity, but also of the global possibilities of Hangul, the Korean language. Our Globalist today, Dr. Jieun Kiaer, a Korean linguistic professor at Oxford University, has long been a proponent of Hangul and has helped include such Korean words as Chimaek, chicken and beer, and Mukbang into the Oxford English Dictionary. She joins us today to tell us why we have just started tapping into the potential of Hangul. Welcome, Dr. Jieun, to our show. Thank you.
Let's sing along. Singing together. Let's walk.
So tell us, Chimaek, Mukbang, they were included in the Oxford English Dictionary. When were they included? What other words were included? And do you see this trend continuing?
Yeah, Chimaek and Mukbang, we were included 2021 edition, and 26 words.
26?
26, yeah.
Wow.
26 Korean words entered into Oxford English Dictionary. But I kind of say it's not like sort of Korean words, but it's more or less Hallyu-driven, Korean wave-driven words, because, for example, like Chimaek and Mukbang, not yet or in Korean dictionary.
Oh, really? So they went into the Oxford English Dictionary before they went into the Korean dictionary?
Yes. These 26 words, most of them basically are the words that become popular through the fandoms of Hallyu. So I kind of want to say not like Korean words, but they're fandoms words or like.
So they're words that actually are being used by Korean culture fans outside of Korea, actually, in a way more than they are
Exactly.
in Korea.
Yeah. So Chimaek and Mukbang, of course, Korean people use these words, but they're not in the dictionary. But the way how Chimaek and Mukbang romanized, CHI, and these actually are often found in social media related to K-pop or K-drama. So the words, these are K-culture fandoms words, and they're very active. For example, in 2021, in the tweets and now acts in K-pop only social media, there were about 7.8 billion tweets about K-pop. So a lot of people talk about these words.
So it leads me to think, how do you make it into the Oxford English Dictionary? I mean, it's obviously, it's not just English. It's words that are being used by the English-speaking world that is not English? I mean, does it have to be English?
OED, Oxford English Dictionary, are very much like crowdsourced dictionary. Basically, it's not like top-down, let's put this word and the other words. But the way how these words enter into Oxford English Dictionary and also in Global English is because the people use these words. The people all over the world use these words and talk about these words. The social media, the fandoms use these words, and they use, in fact, not translate these words into English words, but they transliterate the Korean words and use them in all the time and in the social media and so on. So these are the way how they enter into English language. Not only OED, but English language.
But it surprised me because, you know, Oxford English, you think of Oxford English as the Queen's English, you know, very high-level English. You know, My Fair Lady, The Rain in Spain, you know, falls mainly in the Spain. There's a certain level that I thought they would maintain for their Queen's English. But does this mean that English has changed?
Yes, English is changing. I think that what you said exactly, people expect English to be like. And I'm from Oxford, and I'm surrounded by my colleagues who speak this
They
English.
speak the Oxford English, don't they not? Yes.
But in fact, more and more people speak English. What it means is that the people who are speaking English as their second, third language will be the dominant, more than those who are speaking English as the first language. And also even in Britain, like when you think about the demographic change and people's global mobility, the people in Britain, in UK, the top 5 languages spoken are non-European languages, but Asian languages. So in a way that makes English change all the time.
Is Korean included in the top 5 Asian languages? Not yet?
Not yet. It's because the top 5 languages are basically the languages of the people. So when you look at the demographic of UK and so on, the people from India,
China,
and so on. So they are top languages, but Korean is becoming much more popular than ever before.
I hear it's growing rapidly in the UK.
Yeah.
And you did a study about why it was?
Yes. So this year, I'm working with the UK's Department of Education, the government education authority, to see this phenomena, to what is happening here. Because, for example, French, last 20 years, the GCSE, which is exam, the applicant who are applying for GCSE French halved. So people not studying language because it's not so surprising when you think about you're living in Britain, everybody's speaking English. Why do you speak another language? It's quite difficult to persuade someone to study another language because I can survive wherever I go because I can speak English.
Yes.
So for us Korean people, we have to learn English because we have to, in order to communicate with
in
the
order
rest.
to come on our show.
Yeah, exactly. For British students, why do they have to learn another language? It's quite hard to justify the reason why. So there's a big problem in terms of British Education Authority, how to motivate young people to learn new language. But there's an interesting phenomena that suddenly all other languages are not doing well, but in terms of the number of students who are choosing Korean or started learning Korean, Korean is not yet the official subject in UK school. But those who want to study Korean has tripled over the last last years.
While everyone else is going down.
But I think this trend is going everywhere, not just Britain, UK, but globally.
Yes, I've heard that Korean language is the 7th language in terms of new languages people want to learn.
Yeah, and more so after the COVID, in the pandemic, and people have time. What do they want to do? They want to learn language. The way you learn new, foreign language, the best way is you immerse yourself with the culture and the implicit learning. So you don't really try to learn the language, master language, but when you kind of relax and enjoy the culture, for example, watching drama, and when you're relaxed, you actually learn more than actually when you I want to study the language. I think everybody experience let's study English. It doesn't work, but if you kind of relax and watch movie, you can learn, you can pick up the words. So when the Squid Game was very much in its rise and in popularity, I did give about 4 or 5 seminars about the language of Squid Game. And about 100 people who have never done any Korean attended the seminar, online seminar. And all of them were initial Korean learners, so they haven't done any Korean. But while watching the Korean drama like Squid Game, they started to pick up new words. And at the end of the Squid Game, at the end of the series, most of them pick up about 10 words from Squid Game. And when you pick up those words, about 10 plus words, the next step you wanted to go, I want to know more about the language. So these K-drama viewers actually go to the Korean language learning, particularly young people who are very hard to motivate to learn new language in Britain and more. And they start to learn by themselves. All of them self-motivated to learn this language. And they don't even have books and other materials, but they go on internet and learn the language, watch drama and pick up the language, and they want to come to Korea to learn more.
So you attribute this surge in the desire to learn Korean language as a second language to Hallyu or Korean culture. Is that the only reason? Are there other reasons as well?
I think K-pop and K-drama gives them first motive to learn language and culture more. But then it's not just K-pop and K-drama. I think K-drama and K-pop and more gives them sort of more or less, K-culture in general gives them curiosity. I want to know more about it. So, it's not just, I met some people who not necessarily K-pop fans or K-drama fans, but I met 8-year-old boy.
8-year-old.
8-year-old.
Wow. Yeah.
In Edinburgh. He was studying Korean, and he said he was studying Korean, like even going back home and the bus, he was writing Hangul. Why do you want to study Korean? He wasn't a K-pop fan and drama. No, he was too young.
Yeah, 8 is a little young, but yeah.
Okay. I think he had some kind of fantasy about Korea, K-fantasy, and he said to me, I want to live in Korea when I grow up. I was really, surprised by that. And I think it's not like K-pop and drama, but in fact, actually, K-culture in general gave them sort of a fantasy or curiosity about Korea. Not yet fully known in terms of, language visibility, but the culture, product is enough for them to have curiosity about, to learn the language.
Someone's saying it's just cool to be Korea at the moment, and that coolness really sort of attracts a lot of curiosity and sparks interest.
Exactly.
But I'm also curious about what impact this has on maybe foreign languages in general. You talked about director Bong Joon-ho, when he won the Oscar for Parasite. He talked about the fact that Parasite overcame this stigma of a foreign language film not being able to take the top honor. He said, and he described it as that 1-inch barrier. I heard you talk about that opening the door to not just Korean language, but to other foreign languages as well. Is there a significance that you'd like to point out?
Hallyu Korean, drama and this film, these cultural products are doing is bringing constant curiosity to viewers. And in fact, what cultural products did was open the door for the non-European languages, Asian languages, actually have opportunity. I mean, it's not like marginal languages, but it has been marginalized in our cultural landscape. But actually, it opens the door that in our culture, global landscape, cultural landscape become much more inclusive, diverse, and beautiful.
Yeah.
The great power of English language and the success secret behind is inclusive openness. Let me give you one example. When you think about all the food words in English language, most of them are from somewhere else. It's very hard to find the truly English food.
Hamburger.
All from German.
Yes, true. That's true.
Anything we have, tea, China, anything we have is from somewhere else. But then, sort of the English was able to open and incorporate, embrace.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the question that James Murray, OED editor in 20th century, thinking, what shall we do with this new word? Shall we, new culture, shall we embrace or reject?
Yeah.
Well, shall we have sort of authenticity, like this is the Queen's English, so we don't have you guys? But actually, OED, the power of Oxford English Dictionary and English is to embrace all. Let's open the door for all. And it made it much more diverse. But I think it's the time to open, to embrace all these voices. And then in that way, English will become much more attractive to people.
In this world of AI, human language is more important than ever before. And that's a part of your research, what you're doing now. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm studying or researching about AI linguistics, and I'm interested in how human language will evolve later with this interaction.
So it's not the language of AI, but human language in the era of AI.
Yes, it's very hard to tear apart this is human language and this is language of AI. Simply think about some of the chat we had with some AI chatbot. It's hard to know whether this is human or non-human. Now it's like even people are making human-like voices. It will be very hard from now on. An AI large language model is based on also, it learns the patterns from human language.
Yep.
It will be very hard to tell this is human language, this is non-human language.
Aren't they using human language?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they are using human language, but actually they are endlessly generating new language patterns.
Oh, I see. Even though it seems like human language, they're generating their own languages.
Yes, so it's large language model, so it generates endlessly. Before LLM appears, large language model, we only can create and generate new sentences and so on and so forth. But in a way, now we see how ChatGPT-like large language model constantly challenges the boundaries.
Yeah.
And it will be true that from now on the boundary between human, non-human language is very hard to tell. What is very interesting is that in English, it will be kind of hard to tell whether this is your voice, what you have written or not.
Yeah.
Very hard to tell, but in languages like Korean and Asian languages, still there's some room. What I'm saying is that actually you can tell whether this is AI-generated language or your language, because most of Asian languages have a rich pragmatics, rich complexities in pragmatics. For example, let me give you an example like second-person pronoun,
Okay.
you. English is very easy to say, everybody is you.
You, okay.
Korean, how to address second person is very complex.
Yes.
It's the most difficult thing when you do translation. So AI translation is very hard how to do with you, second person pronoun.
Yeah, because if it's a friend, it's no. But if it's let's say, elderly, it's 당신, there are different ways.
Exactly.
You can't say no.
Yeah, you have to bring all kinds of address term. You have to think about the relation, interpersonal relation. Basically, in order to find the right word, you have to think about interperson, two-person relationship. And AI is not really good at, finding what's the right for that. So in a way, what I'm trying to say is that this complexity, emotional and pragmatic richness and complexity may be a big hurdle for AI to conquer. So these Korean and Asian languages are still, I think, sort of have very much uniqueness. You can tell this is human language and non-human language, but in a way, I think it was a matter of time.
Yeah.
Soon there will be like, we don't know whether this is AI sort of generated or human generated. But then, in a way, it's not a time to say, we have to all rely on LLM, or we have to keep our languages of our own. I think it's time that we think about how we live together. And for me, as a linguist, I think it's important for us to actually protect our language. What I mean by that is that, we'll live in a world where we so much rely on AI and LLM. But I think the emotional complexity and pragmatic richness, these are the kind of human language traits which AI can't really understand much.
And you're saying we're losing this because of the young generation are not really learning language the way that we learned language?
According to study, average people's screen time is 8 hours minimum, and 3 seconds is their, what they can concentrate on.
3 seconds.
3 seconds for 3 seconds, and you lose their mind. They are sort of, I coined the word AI natives. So they are growing in this, living together with AI, and so it's happened already, and they will live with AI. But I think it's important for parents, for older generation, to be able to give our children some space that they can also learn emotional interaction and emotional aspects of language, which can only be achieved by human-to-human interaction. So my kind of suggestion is that for the young people, rather than giving them just AI straightforward, we have to kind of cherish the time that they have, value the time they have, and particularly when they learn the language, we need to help them to have a very much good human-to-human interaction, and that the emotional aspect of the human language can be only transferred through human-to-human, trustworthy, the people who you can trust, and having some it's sort of like parents. This relationship can give them emotional richness in the language. So rather than going straight to AI, you have to keep that momentum and let them develop the emotional language of their own.
But I hear that you are not, limiting your activities to linguistics, but you have cultural documentaries that you are in the process of making. Tell us about some of your more artistic activities.
So I was co-producer of this documentary film about Haenyeo, Jeju Haenyeo sea divers, and I got funding from River Hume Trust. So the funding was from the British organization, and they were very interested in to know about the Haenyeo. My initial interest was to document the language.
Very unique.
Yeah, because
and dying out, if I understand
yes,
correctly.
as you know, the Haenyeo, the average age, they are very old. They sort of dying population, and not many young people would become Haenyeo. But I realized this is the time, and I thought, one day, if I don't do it now, there will be no opportunity.
Yes.
So I went to Jeju, stayed there about a month with my team, and my co-producer was Curtis Winter, who was director who got Berlin Biennale Encounter Golden Bear Prize. So we observed their lives, the Haenyeo, their lives for a month, and then also, interviewed them. I learned so much from them.
When is this documentary going to see the light of day? When will we be able to see the documentary?
We are at the moment post-producing stage, so we'll probably next year. I was so touched by their resilience, their community spirit. So I was actually thinking about the word Haenyeo into Oxford English Dictionary, but we didn't have any sort of textual evidence about Haenyeo. Of course, we have evidence in Korean, documentary, and go back in 17th century on. But when you think about global stage and sort of World Oxford English Dictionary, what they count is English textual evidence, and there was nothing about Haenyeo.
Really?
Only recently they started to emerge. But in case of like AMA, the Japanese version of Haenyeo, there are a lot of textual evidence. So AMA is in Oxford English Dictionary. So what I learned about that actually is in terms of like translation, we need to have, I think, more English translation to make our culture visible in the global stage. Just like we do with the K-drama and film, more textual infrastructure has to be translated into English. But also, I learned from this Haenyeo documentary, somehow marginalized voices, but the power within the community. So it was a very rewarding experience. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you will help get Haenyeo next into the OED dictionary. I also heard that recently you came off of a K-pop concert, which is a very unique thing at Oxford. And there's a 가나다송 to get people to learn more Hangul. Tell us about that.
So it was 4th of July. It was election day, so but of course Independence Day. So we had the producer Kim Hyung-seok, well-known K-pop composer, producer. So producer Kim Hyung-seok came, and we had this concert in the Sheldonian Theater, which is often is a place where the graduation ceremonies happen. And
it is a very, very famous and historically rich, tradition-rich place at Oxford.
Absolutely, a 17th century building. It kind of represents very much at the heart of British Institute. And often you hear a lot of classical music and so on, but this was the first time that they had a K-pop concert. So the idea of pop concert and K-pop, not very much common idea, but it was the first time. I really wanted to do it over there to show that, to show some kind of impact and the diversity of our culture. So, and it was very well attended. I think about 500 people, 50 people came, and also the interesting about the concert was, normally when you go to K-pop concert, very young people, but this concert that we had, it was a K-pop talk concert. So Kim Hyung-seok and myself, we had talked, and then there's some concert elements. But it was really good experience because we were able to bring some of the non-typical K-pop fans to come and hear the history and so on. I think it was very memorable event because, again, like 17th century, very British establishments bring K-pop. It shows so the needs for our culture to become more diverse and inclusive, but it was a kind of statement.
Is Kim Hyung-seok the one who created the 가나다송?
So he composed and I wrote the lyrics.
Oh, really? You wrote the lyrics?
Yes.
And what is that song?
So this song is, very. I mean, I recommend people.
You keep recommending a YouTube search of the 가나다송.
Yeah.
바람 singing together. Let's walk and sing. Let's hold hands together. 아야 어여 오요 우유 우유.
K-culture, Korean language is so popular around the world now. So I thought maybe there's a ABC song for English.
Yep.
So why don't we make one song that people can sing, like ABC song? That was the initiative.
Is it as catchy as the ABC song?
I hope so. But in a way, not like just repeating and repeating about our alphabet, but bring some meaning that bring some solidarity of people.
It's sort of like the Do-Re-Mi song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, they, stays forever. This linguistic traces, I think, it's very important. K-pop, K-culture is doing very well, but at the end of it, I think what remains is the words and language. So I wanted to make some, this song as a lasting legacy for K-culture.
Well, thank you very much for bringing all of that cultural soft power to us.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that's it for me. I'll be back next week with another globalist who's putting Korea on the map. Sun Jie out.